Okay, I got my pajama pants on for this review. And the next one, we are talking about Slumber Party Massacre from back in 1982. And it's slasher film from back in 1982. And it's about these girls that have a slumber party. And this driller killer named Russ Thorne, he comes along and he starts to kill them. This film was produced by Roger Corman, who gave the director, a female director. By the way, you know, the rules. You need tits, butts, and gore. And you have this. There is one scene the director even admits she did just to please Roger Corman, and it's where they're all in the shower and you get an excess of butts and boobs and there's just no, they're turning to the camera and you can see the tits, and that's all it is. And then there's shots throughout the film where they just take their shirts off. One of the first shots of the film is our main character Trish waking up, and she takes her top off. That's it. I know that's probably a normal thing, girls that take their shirts off, change the clothes, but when that's the first shot of your movie, you know you're in for something. And yeah, I like the driller killer Russ Thorne here. He's got the drill, and the first kill that we actually see is there's this she's like a telephone repair woman or something, and she opens the door to her van and she gets grabbed. And at first, you're thinking, not this early. They're not gonna, because you're not expecting it to the kill count to start this early. You think, oh, it's a jump scare with her boyfriend, but no, she actually gets killed. And if you pay attention, you can see her banging on the back. I mean, they show it, but and that's the thing is there is no subtlety with this. They could have had so much subtlety, especially with this character that gets killed, because they show these girls walking by the van. And then they show the back of the van as the girls are walking. She's banging on. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Banging on the back of the van in the window. They can't see her. That's pretty cool. That's nice and subtle. And then they immediately cut to her inside the van banging on it, and she gets killed. I'm like, you didn't really need to show that. You could have had that shot of her banging it. Not many people would notice it. It's very, did you see that? And they do it again. The same character. Later, the girls are walking by this dumpster, and they pass by it, and you see that the lady's dead body is in there, and you walk by it, and it's like, okay, again, it's a good shot. They walk by, but might not see it, and then they just cut to a close-up of the body in there. It's like, no, you don't need to show us. We see it. You don't need. It's like, you can be subtle. You don't have to say, hey, look at this. Like she's banging on the back of the van. Oh, that's cool. Look, she's banging on the back of the van. We already saw that. You didn't need to explicitly show us. Look, there's dead body. Look, dead body. You saw it. You didn't need to close up on it. No. You don't need to do that. I understand she was a first-time director, but Roger Corman should know. Roger Corman is a legend in the horror business, especially when it comes to this exploitation schlockiness. And there's another Roger Corman flick on this list that I'm doing. I think he did it, but I'll try to get to it this weekend. But and there's some creative kills. Like, it's not just a drill. Sometimes he uses a knife or something. There's one kill that doesn't really make much sense to me. Like, the neighbor guy drills through his neck, and then he falls down and it drills through his neck. Like, did the drill bit break off? or what? Because we see it's just finding later, so I don't understand that. I also got confused. I don't think they're very explicit with who the characters are. Because for the entire film, I thought that our main character, Trish, was the girl next door with her sister. Until the coach came over in the climax of the film and yelled Trish at a completely different girl I didn't realize was Trish. Because there's this girl, she said, Trish. I'm like, no, Trish is the... No, she was the one downstairs with the power saw. No, that's Valerie. When you have a bunch of female characters who don't have any differentiations from them other than their hair color, they look different. And they're all in their 20s at least. But like, you know, because I was watching the movie and I thought that the chick at the beginning of the film who took her top off and threw away all her toys and stuff was the girl next door with her little sister. That's who I thought it was. I watched the movie. I watched the movie. I paid attention. But that's what I got from it. But then they say a different girl's Trish, and I'm like, wait, no, that's not the girlfriend. That's not the sister. What? And they're like, no, she comes up from the basement with no, that's her. That's Valerie? I had to look up on Wikipedia. I'm like, what? I had to look it up. Wait, she's Valerie. So Trish, and like they say, oh, Trish is the main character. Yeah. The one next door. No. She's one of the final girls. And so is Trish. She's the main character, one of the final girls. There's more than one final girl here. You got Trish, Valerie, and Valerie's sister. I do like what they do, though, is that when Valerie and her sister get there, the little sister, she wants to be more grown up, even though she's obviously at least 18. But she wants to be more grown up, so you get there and she wants to have a beer right away. So she opens the door, but she doesn't look in the fridge, and there's a dead body. And then she shuts the door. She's like, oh, come on. Opens the door again. The body slumps down a little more. She still doesn't see it, so she shuts it. It makes a squeaking sound when she shuts it. And then I'm like, the sister walks away. Valerie walks away. I'm like, do it now. Grab the beer. See the thing. And she does. She grabs it. She opens the door. Body falls out. She screams. And then the driller killer, like... So then, like, she runs out. And the sister runs in front of her. Like, she runs out of the kitchen. And then Valerie sees it and goes out. And then we see a shadow of Russ Thorne coming from upstairs. She goes, run, Courtney! You don't even see Courtney on the screen. She's like, run, Courtney! Which means they just filmed that shot with her and either the guy who played Russ or a stand-in. That's all that scene was. Like, Courtney wasn't actually in the scene. So, very met. And she goes downstairs to the basement for some reason, and she gets this power saw. And I feel like this scene is the most unnecessary in this film. I feel like that was thrown there for padding because I needed to reach a certain point. She goes down, she grabs the thing, the power saw, and she starts to run up the stairs with it on. She has it on. So even if it did work, he would hear her and he'd be able to counter it. She goes, she's going up the thing, and then the cord pulls because it's not a long enough cord. She's like, shit. And then the next time we see her, she doesn't have the saw. It's like, you couldn't figure out how to plug that in somewhere else? Nope, you're just gonna let it go. This is the 80s. They didn't have cordless power saws like they do now. So, yeah. But yeah, it's, the ending, I feel like slashers in the 80s don't know how to wrap their films up. Because I've seen quite a few slashers, even, quite a few horror movies lately in this run. I mean, 13 Ghosts doesn't count, it's in the mid-2000s, but early 2000s, I mean. But the last couple, well, not The Burning, that one. But then again, we don't really find out what happens to the characters. Like, there's no follow-up. They just kill him, it ends. And that's it. It just starts playing the credits. It's like, we need some kind of follow-up. We need to know, later 80s movies, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, some stuff like that. They would have wrap-up scenes. I mean, a lot of Friday the 13th ones were dream scene stuff to scare you, but I mean, like, Nightmare on Elm Street had wrap-up scenes sometimes. Like, especially the later ones, like 4, 5, 4 with the fountain thing, where, they show that she's okay, and then 5, where they show she has the baby and everything's, like, normal. That thing. It's not like ending it quickly. Not looking at the camera and say, Freddy's dead. No, there's some horror movies know how to wrap up their films. Other films just say, okay, we're done. Just, he's dead. End credits. And that's going to be a negative in all my reviews because I don't get it. Why can't we have a wrap-up scene? Why can't we cut to 2 weeks later and they're getting along with their life or something? There's a sequel, and I think the character of Courtney is in the sequel. But there's a third one, which is not on Tubi, so I won't be reviewing it here. If I can find it somewhere else, I'll review it at some other point. But for now, overall, I enjoyed this film. I think it was the schlockiness that Roger Corman usually brings with his films that he produces. He delivers on the boobs, the butts, and the gore. There's some fantastic gore. Not on par, it doesn't really hold up when you just watch a Tom Savini masterpiece in gore, like The Burning, but, like, it's still pretty good, Nothing beats Tom Savini, but just like, I don't know if I even mentioned him either, but Tom Savini's the gore, the man. Yeah, and this was pretty good. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I think it was decent, but some of the character decisions are stupid. You can have smart. I'm one who rallies for smart characters in horror films. Just because it's a horror film does not mean you have to make your characters stupid fucking idiots. Alright? And these characters, like, there's these two boys and two guys, and they're like, okay, you run one way, I'll run the other. And one runs into the garage, the other one runs, like, next door. And it's like, no, get the fuck away from there, a couple blocks away each. You can each call the cops. Each going in a different direction, each going to a different house. Not being fucking stupid. This stupid character decisions, that's what weighs us down, but it's a 7 out of 10. So what are your thoughts on the Slumber Party Massacre? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. The PJ Pants will return because I'm doing the sequel, which I hear is better. We'll see. Tell them, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. I'm sure I did it again. I'll see you in the next one.